Well, it's truly been, it's a bit of a cliche, the perfect storm. In our view, there's sort of six factors at play here. First of all, you've got the fact that the US spirits market itself has been relatively weak. Then you've had share trends within the US disfavoring categories like cognac. Then we've had the most recent, the threat of tariffs from the incoming Trump administration. As you've just been talking about, the weakness of the Chinese consumer, tariffs in place now on cognac in China, and then some of the companies have had a lot of problems with CEO transition. So it's really, in my memory, really probably the worst year I can remember for this sector.
Trevor, what you spell out here from the changes around approach to lifestyle with health drugs, weight loss drugs in the United States, to Chinese consumer that is no longer bankable, to other big tariff threats. This to me suggests that beverages should no longer be considered a safe haven. In addition to the COVID issues, of course, years prior, why is this even a safe haven part of the markets anymore?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. We've had a huge amount of volatility, and that has given investors anxiety about, is this truly a safe haven or not? But if you look particularly at the US spirits market, we're more or less back to where we were in 2019. So actually in COVID, we had a huge surge in consumption. That surge has dropped out. We've had a weak year since, but there are signs, and it must be this very early signs, that we're starting to recover back towards more normal situation. Now, you're absolutely right. For a sector that was viewed to be incredibly stable and had been up to 2019 delivering very, very reliable volume growth, it's a bit of a shock to the system. So I think we just need to reestablish that stability. The bears would argue that impact of GLP-1s, of younger people drinking less, means this is a permanent impairment. When we do our detailed analysis on each of those factors, we think that's not the case. There are some small structural headwinds, but it's nowhere near the scale of the pullback we've seen in the sector.
So the question for me, Trevor, and lovely to see you, but by the way, it's not just young people drinking less. Some of us middle-aged chaps are trying as well, and I can recommend it to our viewers. It's life affirming. So what's cheap? Is LVMH on 23, Diageo on 19, Anheuser-Busch on 15 times forward, all three of those. Where's your money, Trevor?
Well, my money is actually not into those three. I think there are some of the other spirits companies. If you take, for instance, Pernod Ricard, which long-term has been every bit as good a grower as Diageo, is actually on 14. So there's bargains. I mean, Diageo looks cheap compared to history, but Pernod Ricard really looks like a bargain basement at the moment.
But isn't there a reason always for the market pricing the way it does? The market's actually quite smart at pricing stuff at a discount and a premium. Why is Pernod, and I love the trading pair, and I've probably bored you with my views on Pernod versus Diageo over the years, Trevor, but why is Pernod trading at a discount to Diageo, but it's undeserved?
Well, you take all those factors I mentioned, and they've been hit by the weakness in the US. Jameson's had some problems. They've been hit by a Chinese consumer. They've been hit by tariffs. So if you believe that any of those is changing, at the moment, the market's pricing in the worst case on all of those factors. If you believe some of those factors are going to change, then that's where your upside lies. And I said, early signs that the US may be starting to improve, early signs that China and Europe may be edging closer to a deal on tariffs on EVs, on the importation of Chinese EVs. If that deal is reached, then we'll see the tariffs on cognac lifted very, very quickly, and then you'll see the rebound.